back to Against the Grain Living with Jeremy Moore. Little side project down here at the family farm I grew up at. Got a bunch of hauling equipment that had some small welds break or tack welds to hold things in break. So I brought a bunch of stuff down that needed a bunch of little fix-ups. I did that yesterday on Christmas Day. And late last night I started fabricating a trail groomer. So about to pull in a piece of steel that I used to use for my at a Honda Pioneer 500 I used to put in the back of my pickup truck, and it just distributed the weight across everything because the rear tire sat on the tailgate. So I'm going to repurpose that piece of steel, and got some scraps off the rack here, and I bought 6 pieces of steel that will bankrupt you, and we're going to get at this. There it is. Dad had this sheet, I don't even know how thick it is. 1/8 inch 4x8 sheet. Been sitting around the farm for years, and back in 2015 I dug it out. Welded on some 1x1 angle up the sides and across the back. Welded on some casters and some tie downs. So I could just roll that around in the drive-in shed, lean it against the wall. And then I could just back my truck up to it, set it in, pick up the back, slide it in, and it bolted into the truck quickly. Side by side to drive on, and I had tie downs to go over all 4 tires back onto the deck. Worked pretty slick, but now we're going to use this as the packing plate on the back of a snowmobile groomer. So we're repurposing that piece. I bought this red iron and those 2 flat bars, 6 pieces. And then I dug that out of the scrap metal rack. I got these little pieces in here just simulating. Now that I found that extra steel, I want to do this setup for the cutters where you have 2 little pieces in like this, and then back here overlapping them a V, and then your last little plane that shoves the excess off to the outside of the trail. And then this is for the packer out back. So this red iron will be cut into 4 pieces to make these blades. I want to drill holes in it and use old lawnmower blades. They got a whole pile of them here at the farm. As the cutters, they can cut some V's in them and bolt them, and they'll be in a slotted hole so you can adjust the height of the cutters. But I'll have to support these. Originally, without the steel, I was just going to do this other 60-inch piece on the opposite angle, but it doesn't perform the best. It was just how much steel I could afford. But now with these, I'm going to pull this pattern off, so they cut and deposit and leave it within the groomer. This style can throw the excess off depending on your angle. And then the flat bars for the hitch, a couple pins to pin it on and off quick, and my spring hitch up front, just the universal sleigh hitch, didn't make it in time for Christmas. Not that it was a Christmas present, it was ordered early December. So I'm just thinking out loud, and then we're gonna we don't have a brake, so we're using the tractor bucket once they get to that, cut it to the right width. Taking some measurements, and there's my crude drawings. That was the original, and now we're doing this style from the packing plate at the back. But we'll see how it goes. I'm not a fabricator. I weld things when I need things to stick together. But I'll show you up closer what we got going on. So last night I was playing a little bit, so I cut 8 inches down in the corner, heated it up across there, put a adjustable wrench on it, bent it up, and then we welded and cut off the triangle piece. So I played with a arc welder. Dad's got one of those again now. Haven't done that since I was, I don't know, 12 or 13. And then that side I fired up the MIG welder. I'm much better at that now that I'm professional welder at all. But these little scraps are just simulating the pattern of the blades that I'm going to cut out of this. So it's going to, I have 60 inches of length, so it'll be 15-inch blades. And these ones are going to be facing in this orientation so that I can put the holes in that edge, and it'll set the angle for the lawnmower blades, the cutters. I might get a little creative because this is going to be a 45-degree angle, and just from a little bit of research, a lot of blades for snow plows and these trail groomers, setting them it's 30 degrees is what they want. So I might have to roll it up like that, or vice versa, whatever gives me the 30 degrees, because this is essentially just the holder for the cutting blades, or wearable parts. And then some old rust paint from the cabinet. Hopefully I can, some black for the plate for where I cut and weld that. There's some red, some white. Hitch is probably gonna be white. All these cutters will probably be red. Just use up what I had. So this is gonna be the homemade brake. Hopefully we don't wreck these two C-clamps. I think Dad can get the bucket edge straight down in there. And we're gonna see if we can get somewhat of a 45-degree angle, and then we'll do it at those markings there on either side. Hopefully it works. So we've been working away. Got to clean up and get to another Christmas function here on Boxing Day. But I'll have to cut a bunch of that video. There's the bent sheet metal. So you saw the tractor set up. The weight of that, I don't know what it is, 90-something horse tractor, wasn't enough to bend. I don't know that gauge of the steel. It's roughly an 1/8 of an inch. So I had to fire up the oxyacetylene torches and warm it up, and you saw my dad running a floor jack over there, that one, trying to bend it up. So that was the end result to both sides. So it's supposed to capture some snow, and then this will be the packing plate. Obviously I need to have a little bit more structure in there, but I wanted the front to capture the snow and pack it, and then I might have to back up at least a few feet if I get myself in a bind. So I needed essentially a ski on the back. If I ever end up getting a welder, it's gonna be an arc welder just for ease and not having to deal with the gases and all that and upfront cost, because I just need to fix the odd thing or fabricate something like this. So I've been practicing with that, especially since it had the long leads from where the welder plug is. It's not a flat floor up there to start my original shape here, to get it all squared up. So I used the flat section of the floor, and I don't know if I'll leave that or not. It was just to hold the width. It's just some rebar tacked in there, but I got the last plain blade mostly welded in, and after this was bent, I notched out a groove in there. You can see it better on that side because I don't have it welded, but and then sandwiched it in there, and then just gave it a few welds. Now it's all rigid, and I can flip it over and do whatever I want now and completely weld it. And we'll see when I come back tomorrow or the next day. I might fire up the MIG welder so it goes a little quicker. But we burnt a few rods on the arc welder today. So I gotta cut this one into 4 15-inch sections. And then there'll have to be some supports from this one up to the V that's in the middle. It's supposed to be like this. Roughly. Obviously those aren't long enough, but we'll have to support from here to there to the end of that one, and vice versa here. And might tie that one in back to it just to strengthen some stuff up. And then the hitch up front, but I need the coupler to see how I'm gonna build that. Anyway, we'll touch back when I get back at this. So we've been making progress. We got it up in the air because I had to get the bow out of the flat plate. Either from us pushing on with the tractor or just the heat and all that. We had quite the warp, so I did these outside 2 pieces that I could reach with the big C-clamps. And then I had to use some of my material across the bottom, but I had to put some extra pressure just in the center. So I put my flat stock there. And then I was shy a little bit on length, so I just put a chunk of smaller stock in there so I can drop that now, so I can cut 2 pieces to go here out of that stock that's underneath. But we're getting better at the stick welding. We've tried 3 different rods now, and actually I like these the best. It was a brand new pack, still sealed. That could also be why it's been going smoother, but those are 70-14s. Yeah, so do those now. Weld that up in there, and I have the other 2 blades cut, and then supports up there to the blades, and then the tongue. Making progress. We're getting there. It's getting dark outside. 5:22. It is dark outside. So because this one didn't reach this, I decided to, so basically I cut and bent those out. So I'm gonna bend the bottom flange down and weld it to the face of this cutter, and then hopefully fold this one down and fill in the end of the tube, and then I'll just cut off the 2 wings. And then if I add a little piece of flat plate, I'll close up that box end just so it doesn't jam full of snow. And then I gotta flip it over to finish weld everything I couldn't get on the bottom. So we're many hours later. And I've been at this since 9:30. It's nearly 8 o'clock. So the only drill I found here in the shop was a DeWalt 20 volt. And as soon as I clicked the battery in, it started on fire, started smoking. So I found my brother's air drill, and it actually worked amazing. But they have a lot more shop air here than I have at home. So I clamped the flat bar how I wanted it. I threw a 1/4-inch bolt in it just to save time. I can drill the holes bigger at home. And that rebar is just holding my width. I just built this piece. So I cut with the grinder and then just nipped across with the torch all the way around. And the point is to I can't do it one-handed. Anyway, that'll fit on there. Come to the top. I'll square off that and weld around. It gives me a lot more surface area to weld to. And I'll show you the finished product, and then just drill a hole in that for the hitch. And I might use this rebar and go down and just give it another crosser so that it won't wiggle side to side or rack. So we got a couple sleeping puppies. Not anymore. We have a heat lamp, a little heater, propane heater, and an electric heater, trying to dry this place out. So I got all the melting sleds and snow blowers out of here, and we're putting back the carry-on toboggans, all the carriers on it. I pulled it all off so it was flat storage against the wall over there. And we vacuumed off this. I just finished drilling out the 4 holes to 1/2 inch. That's all the capability I have. I'll have to borrow or buy 5/8 drill bit and a 7/8 for these pins. Threads are 5/8 and then the pin is 7/8. I have a step bit that goes that big. Tried it from either side, but this is 3/8. Using some Shell outboard 2-stroke oil for cutting fluid. That was left here by the previous owner, so found a way to use it up. So I'm gonna clean up all the oil off the 4 holes and do a little bit of sand and prep. I'll probably have to fire up the torch and dry off that back plate. I vacuumed it as best I could. We got the tire fixed on that trailer this morning, and everything's outside to get a pressure wash because it's +6 Celsius. So we're gonna try to get Canadian road salt off of everything. Drying out all the sled stuff from the past 2 days, but we're gonna give everything a sleds, truck, trailer, tractor, sled deck. It's all got sand and salt on it. So on this warm day, we got the hose out. Just need the pressure washer out here and we'll get that done. And then once it's all dry in here, you'll see a finished coat of paint on this. The hitch won't be on because I'm waiting on those drill bits, but just got to cut off the excess here and grind it a little bit better. I don't have my trailer or the spring hitch yet, but I'll be able to drill that later and install that again. We'll get it all painted up, and depending on how I like the spring hitch, I might cut off the hitch that bolts onto here. The one that I frequently, one's just the second one that hooks onto the back of this guy, but the one that I tow on its own all the time, I might cut this off and install one of those spring hitches, because I'd like this to be another 12 inches longer so that it can come up to where the hitch of the sled is up here. So we'll see. We might order another spring hitch if I like it on that setup. Yeah, we're just tinkering away, waiting for the floor to dry up. We got it up to 15 in here. It's not very well insulated. The walls have a little bit, but they didn't put anything in the ceiling. I keep spending my money on the cabin and project and don't build my dream shop. So there's a fresh coat of paint there. It's been a couple weeks since I was at this last. A couple things left to do. I just installed the spring hitch. So the one I ordered from Royal Distributing, it's lost in the mail. So I ordered this one off Amazon, and I'm sorting out that other one. So I'll test this one out. They were identical, both Kimpex. Came with no instructions. I added 2 washers of my own and sandwiched it so it springs either way. Or the alternative is I can put both springs on one side just for the pulling side of it. We'll try it out. And I got these 7/8 holes drilled out, and it was 5/8 on the bottom. I do plan on cutting the excess thread off just so it mitigates my chance of this catching a stump or something on both sides. But it's all painted up. I just got to drop it off the jack stands and get it outside, but we're still waiting on snow here. So it's supposed to snow a couple inches tomorrow. One of the other details, I don't know if I pointed out in video, but I added a chunk of angle iron this way because it was just welded right across that top ridge of the V on either side. And if that catches a stump or something, I thought I'd try to reinforce it a little. So you can see I put on that side, and that side gave me a little bit more linear weld. But yeah, can't wait to try it out. Hopefully it works, but I need to get some snow, use the tire groomer to pack a base, and make sure we get enough snow to cover the obstacles, the little stubs, the stumps and stuff sticking up. And this is just meant to cut and plane and make a perfectly smooth trail. So we're gonna wrap up this video here. We'll have to wait next time to try it out. Hopefully we get all this snow tomorrow and the next day. And I'm 2 weeks out of getting to Cochrane, so hopefully this weekend I can get up to the property, tidy up a few things before we get deep snow again. And we'll see you next time.